Hello, everyone, and welcome to B.A.A.D.S Us. That's right, that's who we are. B.A.A.D.S Us, real talk here on Vision and Purpose Media Productions. And as always, we have a good one for you tonight. I am just thrilled and excited. So it's just two of the team members tonight. So it's all right if we may go off task. I'm just telling you, follow us, stay tuned because we got so much for you. And who are we? We are badass us. That's right. We are women, are just beautiful and divine. Our gentlemen, our brothers, accomplished and determined. Yet, as society see us, we must still change the narrative. That's right. That's who we are. Badass us. We be right back. Stay tuned.
It is key that you mind your mental health.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing this week? Hi.
Use the 5 keys to mental
Well, this week
movement.
has been a really monumental week for me. I realized that I was not being myself.
Reaching out.
Be positive attitude person self, like you guys know me to be. I was
Staying
listening to
upbeat.
teaching and get back to that happy, cheery self you guys of me.
This week's been kind of
Being
stressful
creative.
because of all of the workload that we have on online learning. So I've been trying to use different platforms and different websites to help ease my mind and ease my stress.
And what about you, Margaret?
Well, you guys know me. I just love to work with others and serve them.
Serving others.
Realize that when I serve others, my mind is off of myself.
That's right. And don't forget, self-care is key.
Self-care.
All right. So see you guys next week.
Right.
Bye.
Your mind matters.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Badass Us. That's right, that's who we are. Badass Us, real talk here on Vision and Purpose Media Production. And again, tonight we're going to have a great show. We're going to actually just kick it and lay back and just have a real good time. I got my dear co-host up in here, Rashid White. It's always wonderful when you join. You know, Rashim is always here when we are doing community speaks. This our community speaks week.
Yep.
And we just gonna have a real good time. It's just me and you tonight. How
Yeah,
about
it's just
that?
us. It's just us. Good
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, good conversation, and that's what it's all about. And you know, and just as community speak, we just want to recognize we're going to be talking about celebrating National Volunteer Month and you know financial literacy and Hope Month, in which this is a great topic just for you and I because. Rashim, you do so much for the community, you know, and I can say that when people say, Karen, you always doing so much for the community, you know, it's just like, oh, that's just what I do. I don't see it that way. But when I see it in someone else, I can really appreciate that. You know, so I just want to know, why is this so important to you to be giving of yourself? Because I'm telling you, you are everywhere the community needs you to be.
Well, you know, I try. I've kind of scaled back a little bit and, you know, operated more so behind the scenes a lot, dealing with leaders, trying to push policy, things of that nature. But, you know, being a volunteer and engaging your community is so important, you know, and giving of yourself, volunteering, just as simple as, like we've talked about before, you know, volunteer boards with the HOA, community organizations, volunteering with your church. They're volunteering with organizations such as the American Cancer Society, Lung Society, a Lung Association, excuse me. But getting involved, donating, making a change, giving of yourself is one of the best things we can do and really rewarding. And to give your time for a cause or a cause, it's gives you so many rewards, especially when you see the cause reach its goal, you know, and that's what it's really all about.
Yes, and and that's something you said, the rewards, because for me, being given of myself, it requires me to step outside of my own self.
Yes.
And because sometimes that is just hard for us to do when we just going through the daily, everyday things. Things can get tight, it can get tough, it can get hard at times, and sometimes you do want to just stay there and wallow in your own self pity.
Yeah.
But for me, I just realized when I step outside of that and be given of myself, no matter what I'm going through, it just always just make it so much better, because to see a smile on someone else's face, knowing that I am there, just volunteering my time, my service, you just don't know how it just take away from
Yes.
your own situation by you helping someone else in their situation.
Yeah, and then you never know whose situation is worse than yours. And so when you're giving of yourself, it's like, whoa, they are really down and out.
Yeah.
And here I am wallowing in my pity when, I have a roof over my head,
Yes.
things of that nature, but
That we take for granted
that
sometimes.
we take for
Yeah.
granted often. And so knowing that there's someone else out there who's worse off that you can help. But then when you think of all the youth that we have and the programs that are available to them and the opportunities that we have there to volunteer, to actually change and get involved in a lot of the young person's lives, I think is very important. Just when you say help tutor someone and they make it past the grade, that's rewarding. When they make it out of high school. I had a friend of mine who passed, actually today, she passed of cancer, but one of her full-time jobs that she loved and she thought was so rewarding was being a guidance counselor. Of course, she's paid to do it, but a lot of the stuff that she did outside of the school were for youth. Whether it be volunteering as a leader at Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, or going the extra mile when it means supporting or guiding some of our young people, making sure that they get in college and other things. Those are some of the importance. It's like we love she was one who loved her job and could do. And actually, once she got off at 4 or 5 o'clock or whatever time the teachers get off, she would go back to work. So it was like another job giving of self. So I think that's important. And for someone to give of self, just actually going to say one volunteer event, can be rewarding. And just that first step, because we all could just stay at home, say, oh, we're not worried about that issue. But when we actually go to these things that we volunteer for, see the progress when a goal has been achieved, and celebrate that. That's rewarding, and sometimes those rewards can go a long way.
Yes, it is true, and it's nice that you brought that up, and that was the next thing I wanted to lead into, is the service that we give back to our community. And sometimes it's just taking our skill set. So because when we have a skill set, and yes, we may get paid for it, but it sounds like just outside of that, it's the extra mile that we do in that, and that's what it sounds like with your friend. Yes, she may have been a guidance counselor, but she was more than that. She took her skill set and still gave back to the community. And for me, and that's what it's about. That's just like, that's what my mom just always taught me, don't sit around and wallow in your self-pity, because there's always someone out there that's in the worst situation than you are, so you still have to be given of yourself. And if you have a skill set that can just help your community out, that's what you should do. And that's one thing I definitely know that you do. You be down in Atlanta, helping politicians down there fight their cause. You take your skill set and you use it so well to benefit the community and even bridge the gap between politicians and citizens, so, how did you know that this was a gift that you can use to, kind of finagle that thing? And that's what you do. You do it well.
Well, I don't know if it's I would say it's a gift. It's more so of, knowing that something is greater. Something is greater than you, and so you may not feel like doing it, but you do it because you know that the reward at the end of the table is so important. But when you look at our current state of our society today, you look at home ownership is steady or either on decline in some places. Violence is rising off the charts. Not necessarily murders, but you have car theft, carjackings, and robberies and things of that nature. It's more important to like give back now. People in our society are hurting, and the things that we do when we volunteer are changing lives. And like I was saying with crime, there's been a lot of symposiums all around the county around crime and how do we reduce crime, and a lot of it is due to lack of guidance. Maybe not enough guidance counselors or teachers, maybe smaller classrooms, maybe students need more attention while they're in school, maybe more after school programs where, us as adults we can volunteer, maybe more church programs to where there can be more volunteers to get the youth while they're in church, or even programs to actually go to where some of these impacted youth are and actually talk to them. So all of those programs exist, but I would say they need more. They need more of us to get involved and to be a part of it and be a part of these programs to actually help heal our communities.
That is so true. Even Friday, just past Good Friday, we did a fish fry for Good Friday. We fed the community, and and as much as we out there and we do these food giveaways all the time, and that's what I was saying to myself. I was like, gosh. As much as they smiled and just so gracious and say thank you, we need more.
Yes.
We need this done more often, because it's just a group of us and we just come together and use our own monies. It's no grant or nothing. It's a group of owners and business owners, and we just want to, just give back to our community. And that's a good point that you said that, we just need more people to get involved,
But even how did that start? They just started with like an idea, right?
Exactly.
It started out with an idea, and you gave back, and y'all filled a lot of people who probably needed food.
Yeah.
I was driving down Marlboro Pike the other day, and I was at a stoplight, and a guy knocked on my window, and he had like a bag, and I rolled down the window. He was like, "Here, sir, here's a mood. Just be blessed." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Granted, I opened the case, and it was a hot dog, hamburger, some chips, but. And it was kind of cold that morning. He didn't have to do that.
Yes.
And I'm quite sure he wasn't getting paid to do that.
Yes.
But being a blessing to someone else,
yes.
Just hearing the, "Oh, thank you," can be rewarding for him.
So rewarding, yes. And it is, because when we do our food drive, store drive, and all the things that we do to give back to the community, just to see them, Rasheen, generally with a smile on their face, they are so gracious, and just thanking us for what we do. It's so rewarding to see that.
Yeah, because we don't have to do it.
Yeah.
We don't have to do it.
That's
but
true.
We do it.
Yeah, that's true. And just want to just always just be mindful of how much am I giving back to the community. What is it that just drives that, and it's, like I said, it's just something that's in me that I naturally want to do. But when I see it in others such as yourself, it's just like, why it's so amazing when you see it in someone else. It's like, okay.
But that's our goal. I think as someone who volunteers, it's always good to get others involved in volunteering, bringing your peers and your family along. The more the merrier. But then you create a mindset You create a mindset to that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's always opportunities around Thanksgiving, around Christmas,
Yes.
Easter, like something
Yes.
which you just did,
Mm-hmm.
and utilizing these holidays to give back. I mean, I think they're perfect opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And while many people volunteer during those times at a higher rate, and I mean, it's still great to do it, when it's not a holiday, when
Yeah.
it's not a special occasion.
Exactly.
When it's not like
yeah.
MLK Day and you're doing a day of service or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But those are good opportunities to start.
Yes, it is. And, and that's what I say, because for me, if they need at Thanksgiving, they need at Christmas, they need all year round. And so we do take time to make sure that we are out there giving more than just the holiday time, and a lot of these people, we are making connections with, and we help them later on, because they start to talk to you, they start to entrusting you, and they want to share what's going on. So, just even now taking the media company and being a voice for them is just exciting to have that piece to it. And then using the resources that we have to connect. Sometimes they just don't know.
No.
Yeah, no, where to go and find the different things. So when we have the resources and we just provide it for them, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like organizations like there's like Volunteers of America, that are great resources for people to log onto the website and look at opportunities in their area. There's so many opportunities where organizations need people to volunteer.
Yes,
There's
yes.
SPCA, when we're looking at animals and volunteer opportunities there.
Yes, yes. I think mentioning that, because that was next to what is some of the organizations that you like to be involved in. And it's funny you mentioned the animal one. I was like, I went one time and volunteered at an animal shelter. And I said, I can't do it no more.
Why?
Because I would end up having every animal home with me. It's just like, oh, I'm adopt this one. Oh, I may adopt this, and I was like, and I'm a big animal lover. That's why I was like, man, I'm going to turn my house into a little baby zoo. Yeah.
That's right. You have a couple of dogs yourself.
Yes, yes. So, it just, and even now when I even see the commercials on TV, all you got to do is, I was like, I got to turn. Because I'd be the one, so, but yes. But what is one of your favorite organizations, because that is key too, if somebody who's out there that's looking to, where do I start? Okay, this is something I want to do is, start to volunteer. I would say the best place to do is, if you don't have one set that you want to do, is look at what organizations that are out there that you may want to help and volunteer, because like you said, they can always use volunteers. So I definitely always like just connecting with different organizations and make sure that I do my fair part, even raising money to give to the organization, because organizations, they always needing funding, because a lot of times outside of grants, and especially with COVID, a lot of these organizations, they are using their own personal funds to make sure it happened. And I know about that, because you're one of the ones, you're involved in a lot, and you have seen some of these organizations just on grassroots and out there doing it because this is what they want to do. Even if the funding is not there, they finding ways to make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, I like to volunteer pretty often with my alumni association, my college HBCU alumni association, Savannah State in Georgia. And I feel like it's important to let young people know about opportunities in college, and volunteering at college fairs, recruiting students, raising money for scholarships. Those are really important to me. So that's just one way, just one example.
Yeah, okay. So while we get ready to go into this first commercial break, we're going to end with, who is a person you admire for their service that they give?
Well, I have an aunt who is always involved. She always home. She always driving around the county, going to some event. She's always volunteering her time for, you know,
I bet it's that under just text me too.
yeah, she
huh?
probably is. You know, she's a part of this group. She's a part of that group. This group of women helping out young people, helping out foster kids. So I really admire, you know, how she's out in the community, how she's engaged, and how she's volunteering and giving herself.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
you know, and she has a certain perspective, and that perspective drives her,
Yes.
and the reason why she gives back often. And I think that's just awesome and tremendous.
Yes, we're not going to say no names, but the initial is Michelle. Oh, did I just say the name? I didn't mean to do that. But yes, have such a big heart. And I would have to say, definitely for me, I'm going to give it to my team, the VNP team. No matter what I ask them, I'm always coming up with some ideas of going out in the community. Let's do this. Let's give this. And you know what? They just do it. They never say no.
Yeah.
You know, we always find a way to make it happen. So I just want to just thank that, just going into this commercial break, just thank you all, just thank the team, just thank the VNP family, the team that we have here, because, you know, you all, it's just help make it happen, because, you know, it takes a person to have an idea, and usually, you know, the person that has the idea need that support of a team to help, you know, go out there and just make it come to fruition. So I definitely say I am blessed to have the team that I have, because, you know, they volunteer so much of themselves all the time, outside of them having their own business and their own organizations and things that they like to do. So stay tuned. So that was for you. I know some of you all are watching, so that love was for you, and for that person that we don't post the name, but her name initial is Michelle. I mean, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just go to commercial break before I get in trouble and my text go off. All right, you're watching B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us here on Vision and Purpose Media Productions. We be right back at you. Thank you. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. Yeah, that's right. That's who we are. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. What? Who are we? We are women. Beautiful, accomplished, and divine. That's right. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. Yeah. Who are we? We are gentlemen. Our brothers, accomplished and determined. Yet, as society see us, we must still change the narrative. Yeah, that's right. Who are we? The black community. Remember us? We are accomplished. We are determined. We are divine. We are of greatness. That's right. The black community. Badass us. Who are we? That's right. Who am I? I am the person committed to building the next community movement. What about you? Yes, welcome back to B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. That's right, that's who we are, B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us, here on Vision and Purpose Media Productions. And we just having a great time. We're going to continue this conversation. It's just me and Rasheen today. I am just loving it. It's just the two of us, you
Just
know.
me and Karen.
Yes. And look, and I like when I call you, you always say, "What's going on, Karen McConnell Jones?" You know, you say
give the whole-
you got to say my full name.
Give the whole government.
Yeah, the whole government name. So yes. So it's just fun just to have this time with you. And, you know, as we just continue to recognize the different community awareness, you know, because this is our Community Speak Week. You do so much, Rasheen, and I just want to thank you for all that you do, you know, and just even enlightening us. Sometimes when we in here, they should see the off the camera. Rasheen be giving it to us, all this nuggets and information that you give us. business, So, yeah, it's just wonderful. So now, as we also know that this is Financial Literacy Month, and I know that you're always out there and talking to small businesses, and you have seen the devastation that COVID had. So, where do you think we are financially now since COVID?
We were already in such bad shape. You know, I think in certain aspects, you look at more people have started businesses during the COVID era. They're like, we're getting LLC'd up, which is great. You know, black folks are starting businesses over COVID. Saving up. Those who were able to keep their jobs saved up. Those who lost them were able to start businesses. Excuse me. So I think in some ways we are behind still in COVID, after COVID, post COVID, if there is a such thing as post COVID. Gas prices are high. Rent is high. Home values have increased and have become unaffordable for some folks who work hard every day. Utilities are high. Food is high. So I think in some cases, we are worse off than where we've been before. I think it's always important for every individual to check their own financial house. Making sure that they're investing, making sure that they're saving, making sure that keeping expenses low, to put money away for a rainy day. Starting and taking risk with our money, starting new ventures. But there are a lot of opportunities and still room for growth. But I think that as far as a people, are we financially better off? It's just hard to say. But when you look at the conditions of the current state of affairs, we're in bad shape still.
Yes, and
making a lot of strides and gains and progress.
Yes, and it's funny that you said that, because I would agree with you. Because like you said now, with the gas prices so high, I just don't even mention food. Went to the grocery store last night, and we always say it's already expensive to eat healthy. When you're just buying fruit and vegetables, but now I'm just like, I only got 4 or 5 little bags in my bill, $200 or something dollars. What did I get? And it's really critical. But I just think we are at a place also too, Rashim, that we have to start back getting out and circulating. So how do we begin to start that? Because like you said, things are going up, and COVID is, like you said, are we post-COVID? Because we still really is in COVID. You have a lot of people that is very concerned and not coming out their house. And we are now over 2 years. We are 2 years, over 2 years in this thing, still the economy is in need for us to get back in circulating that dollar, that funding. So how do we get the vast of the community understand that it's important that we now need to move back around to start the economy to recover, for some of these things can start to come down?
Yeah, I think that's why you're seeing a lot of government organizations, contracting organizations that contract for the government, corporations are starting to tell people to come back to work. And it's important, especially in our urban areas, where there's a lot of small businesses in these urban areas that need the dollar. That's so important. And if we're all home, we're not spending.
Yes.
I mean, you have seen some unique trends to where some businesses have made more money going virtual and doing deliveries with partnerships with DoorDash and Uber Eats. Some companies have done awesome during the pandemic. because of the virtual services and online ordering. Those who weren't able to innovate, a lot of times they lost out because they weren't able to change with the times or innovate. So, but ultimately, a lot of small businesses need the American worker to come back into the office and spend money downtown.
Yes.
As you can see downtown DC, to where businesses are still thriving because of a lot of assistance and subsidies that federal, state, and local governments have been able to give, but there are some that are still struggling and that weren't able to survive, and that may not recover. But they need the American dollar and the American people to go back to work so they can spend the money.
Yeah, because it's funny that you were saying that some of us created and started their own business in COVID. I am one, so I am definitely can be that example. What you're saying, we definitely need the community to get back out there and start to circulate and the funds again, because we need this order to stay afloat. For the economy to just get back out there. And also, I just want to revisit even like home buying, because it's funny that you said that. Right now, I have a friend that's looking to buy a home, but the pricing is going up so much. How can now we afford for those who are, working and in position to buy them home? Because matter of fact, I just want to ask you that question, because you actually bought your house in the midst of this pandemic last year, right?
Yeah. I actually bought a home after using the pandemic, or started saving right before the pandemic, but actually using it as a way to double down and save. So I've basically been saving and putting away for about 2 years. And the home buying process is an intense process. One, you got to figure out what you're available for, getting pre-approved, but also figuring out what you want, which is tough in itself.
Oh, yes.
Figuring out what you want. And I think during my process, I saw, me and my realtor and we saw over 100 homes. Probably more than that. I'm more so leaning towards like 120, 130. But we were diligently looking, and it was important because, one, you got to see what's out there. And then two, ultimately figure out what you want and then making that purchase. But it is intimidating because it's like, this house is this much. I'm about to own a property that's this much, or I have to pay X amount for this property. It's putting out a lot. And you got to figure out the rewards. But in it, but I say once you get the property, it's so many rewards.
Yes, it really is. It's an investment worth having.
But it's this market is very tough. There's little inventory, but there are a lot of people wanting to buy because we've saved up during the pandemic. There's a lot of competition.
Oh, yes.
Available. A lot of people are becoming realtors, which is great, but I think the thing is we still need to build because inventory is still low. So everything is so competitive, and it can be quite intimidating for a new first-time homeowner.
Yes, it really is.
Or first-time home buyer, excuse me.
Yeah, first-time home buyer, yep. Because I'm going to tell you, my friend put his house on the market on a Friday. By Saturday, he already had 13 offers. 13 offers. By Sunday, because supposedly went just Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, they just had to just go ahead on and just, shut it down. Because one house in 2 days got 25 offers. He was like, for him, he was pulling his hair out trying to decide
who to go with.
And and of course, with that being said, when you have that many people bidding on that house, what's happening. Everybody making it go up, yeah, it's good to the person who's selling the house. But for the one who's buying it, you're going in the house probably, overpriced. You don't pay more than what it really is worth because you really went into a bidding war to get that property. And so you are so right about that. People are now just being in bidding wars with a house, with the property they want to own. So how can we just, as we was talking about that, it's important that financial literacy, we talking about that. What is one of the things that helped you to stay focused to start your saving? Because because you can't just go out here and buy stuff. Like you said, you got to be pre-approved. You got to look at your credit score. And this is one thing I like about April, because you do have more of these classes that's out here that people are giving so many classes for Financial Literacy Month, because it is a process to get to where you want to be. So what was your process? What worked for you?
Well, one, examining my financial house. Two, rent prices were going up. And it's like, why is my rent keep going up? I'm not getting anything, no value for it.
Paying on somebody else's mortgage, right?
Exactly. And they weren't doing anything to the apartment. They weren't giving me any upgrades, but my rent was steadily going up. And I could get nothing for the property that benefit. Me moving out, I couldn't sell the apartment, so I wasn't getting any type of benefits. So, for me, it's something that I wanted to invest. It's more sort of investment for me. But it really started with me in examining my credit, knowing my debt to income ratio, knowing my score and monitoring my score, researching what interest rates were available to me at my score, trying to get to that score to where the interest rate will help make a difference on your monthly payments, all of that. So I researched a lot, read a lot, listened to a lot of people, who have bought properties, but also listened to real estate experts, and so I finally came to my decision and bought my home, and I thought it was a really great decision that I did. And it was, I call it my investment. I don't say, oh, it's my house, like I'm going to live in this thing forever. No, I may not live in there 2 years from now, but it's my investment that will appreciate. So, and then knowing, I almost bought a car. I was looking at a Tesla. I was like, oh, what about a Tesla? It's an electric car. It's slick. It's cool. But it depreciates once I drive it off the lot. And, you can pay $50,000, $60,000 for a vehicle. A month later, it ain't gonna be worth that much. But you can pay $50,000 or $60,000 for a home. Months later, it's gonna be worth more. So, just kind of looking at where I want to place my money, how I want to make it work for me, and the ability to be able to live comfortably and enjoy your dwelling, the place that you're living. So I thought that was very important, but it came with a lot of hard work and figuring out your FICO score.
Yes, and mention that, yes. So this is just a great conversation. We just want to give nuggets, and I just think for me, I've been in my house for so long. I've been in my house for 31 years. And when we first bought this house, I'm just going to tell you my little backstory. Actually, at the time when we bought the house, Bush Sr. Was president. And I don't know if you remember, the economy was just like crazy. The interest rate was like ridiculously high. And everybody's like, are you all crazy,
People were
Tobin?
getting interest
Yes.
rates of like 11%,
Yeah.
13% interest rates, some at
Yes.
like 20% interest rates.
Yes, yes. And I tell you, but when you know it's for you and it's your timing, you just gotta know that. And I would just say that because, and I'm using us as that example. You buying a house in the middle of COVID, people probably was like, why? Me opening up a business in the middle of COVID, why? But you just got to know when it's your time, and that lead us kind of like just into the next segment. It's just like, for me, I'm just like, what is my legacy gonna look like? And building that financial legacy, and what can I tell my community, or my family who's in the process of maturing, or what can you tell that young person? Because for me, I just had my home ever since I was 24. And that's just what it was. I come up in a family where we were homeowners. And my Uncle Bill was serious about that. He was like, why you're paying off somebody else's mortgage when you can be paying off your own? Because when you live in an apartment or you renting out a house or whatever, guess what you're doing? You're paying somebody else's mortgage. And so that just really just hit home with me. So even at the age of 24, I was living, because then I had been living out on my own since I was 19. I was in a high-rise apartment. I had to have the best. I was in a Massachusetts house downtown D.C., and so when you look at it, you do have to weigh your pros and cons. You may have to start out that way renting, but you have to, for me, to better save your money and have financial literacy, to the point of building that legacy for your family. It's about buying and owning, and not just buying, owning it though. You have to, be focused. And when you get it, don't keep constantly refinancing. Some people, it may work for them, but for us, if we want to get to the point that we own the house or own the property, you cannot keep taking every pinch of equity out. Soon as a little equity, I got a friend, I mean literally, soon as the equity get in the house or the property, they snatching it out. And I just think far as just building, like I said, that financial legacy in the house, how do you do that when you're constantly taken away from your investment? So it was important to me because I'm come from the country. So I'm used to seeing my great grandmother and my great aunts and uncle. They get 1 acre of land, and they work hard to pay it off. And then they'll go get another acre of land. So I'm used to seeing the importance of paying off your property. So what you think about the value of that, and how in this day and time do we need to stay focused on that? Or is that something that we, have time change? Am I outdated?
Well,
in
maybe a
thinking
little
that?
bit. Maybe a little bit. I think, you know, I like to encourage people to invest. Yeah, it's good to buy a house, but why not buy an investment property? Why not buy a multifamily unit to where you can build a profit off of what you currently own? Multifamily units, sell more, and it's. I think society has changed where we're not expected to stay in our homes forever, until it's paid off. I think the value of a home now is, say, if you bought a home and it has maybe $200,000 worth of equity in it, and you may be getting ready to retire. It's an investment to where you can sell it and maybe pocket $100,000, some change, minus the taxes, paying the realtor, all the fees that you have to do. But that's great income for when you retire. You can say, oh, but it's so high out here and the rent. But you do have cash that you've invested and you've taken out and sold, and made a profit off of it. you can always invest another chunk, smaller chunk, into another property to live. Um, so it doesn't always have to be, buying a house to live in to stay forever to pay it off.
Yeah.
Also, everybody is not built to rent. I mean, built to buy.
But built
to
to
own.
own. And that's true. It's definitely different. That's why I said, am I just, in another world right now? But I will say to the younger generation, as we go to this commercial break, I am seeing, it is different. Everybody financial legacy look
Yeah.
different. And I would give it up to my goddaughter and my godson that's out in California. They have now, they just buying up property. They have three Airbnbs. And they bought two of them while in the pandemic, and outside of a fourth home that they had for a very long time renting out. So I'm seeing a different generation just doing it.
Yeah.
So yes, so whatever works, you got to look at what works for you. But the whole key is starting to be aware and pay attention to what that financial legacy look like for you. All right, you heard it here first on Vision and Purpose Media Production, B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hello, my name is Tania McQueen. I'm the Residential Services Manager for Prestige Community Resources. What our new facilities are respite centers. We're opening 2 in the city right now. Hopefully we'll expand to more. But respite centers are a place where people can come and get a little additional support with their mental health. Our one on Eastern Avenue is for men, and our one on Minnesota Avenue is for women. Our facilities are for all DC residents, especially focusing in on those in Wards 7 and 8. So they're really nice, and I'm excited for consumers to actually see them. What are the services that we're going to provide? Therapy, case management, medication management, all provided by professional staff, a licensed nurse practitioner, psychiatrists, sociologists, social workers, and then our paraprofessionals, our case managers. It's just a place where you can come and get the supports that you need to work on your personal goals, as well as to get your mental health straight. Simple, single adult, 18 years of age or older, a DC resident. You need to have insurance, but if you don't have it, it's okay. Still come, we'll work on getting you insurance. Have to have a negative COVID test, a negative TB test, and be willing to work on your mental health. For more information about respite services, you can contact us at 202-796-5000 or hit us up on our website at www.prestigecommunityresources.org.
Yes, welcome back. You have to be here with us on our commercial break. We be having some good conversation. We were still talking about because we basically live in the same area. So as we say, and just seeing everything changing around us, it's great. It's great. So as we know, this is the time that we do our inspiration moment with Marjorie Militant. So Marjorie, we love you. We hope you get well soon. And Marjorie, yes. And I'm going to tell you, Marjorie, because I know she always listens in when she's not here. Rasheen, the first thing he said when he came in, where is Marjorie? How's Marjorie? Where's Marjorie today? So Marjorie, get well soon. We always miss you when it comes to the inspirational moment. So we're going to do you justice. And for me, I was saving this last piece because if you know, early on we mentioned that as Community Speaks, we wanted to talk about the 3 things, and that was National Volunteer Month and Financial Literacy Month, and it's also Hope Month, hope. And and all the things that we was talking about as far as volunteer, these are the things that give me hope. Is if I want to just talk about it as an inspirational moment, what are some of the things that we can do to give people hope? And today I just want to say, Marjorie, I'm just gonna say, and the hope you give. This is the lesson for today, is the hope that you give. And I think we have showed great demonstrations of how we continue to give hope in our community. So I'm going to come from Jeremiah 29:11, and that's going to be from the New Living Testament. And we all know this one. For I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans of good and not a disaster, to give you a future and a hope. And guys, that is the true mission in life, is that, we want to just be mindful of our surroundings and who we are, and what we deposit in, our spirit, and deposit out into our community. And we want to be hopeful towards one another, and just give great hope. And for me, and that's just definitely important, because, we can't get stuck in, like I said, to me, especially at the beginning, we so tight about, this pandemic, that we're losing hope and we stop living. But I know that my God is one of still want us to see, the belief and the hope and the blessing on the other side of the challenges. I'm very hopeful for what is to come for the future, even though, like you said, we're still at a struggling place with our economy, and bringing hope back into our communities as far as what we do. But I am hopeful. I'm still hopeful. Even I know we are in the midst still of a pandemic, but I'm hopeful. So what about you, Rashid?
Yeah, I'm always hopeful. I always tell folks I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic. You can't help but to be. I think being hopeful and optimistic, you're always in search of something better. You always know that something better is going to come. Therefore, it's important for us to have some type of optimism and to hope. But also, that's where the volunteering and all that comes in handy, because we can always hope, we can always be optimistic, but we still got to do that work. Just like they say, faith without works is dead.
Yes.
You got to keep up the work. And if we keep volunteering, keep up the work, we can hope for a brighter day. We can hope to end homelessness. We can hope to end childhood hunger. We can hope to end inequity in housing. But it keeps us optimistic, and we should have that type of optimism. It drives us to keep us going. It gives us a goal to reach. So in certain areas, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm optimistic overall. And I think it's just me and my personality, but I always think that something better is on the horizon, and it will come. But we just got to keep up the work.
And I truly believe that, putting in the work, keeping up the work, your belief system have to be willing to put in the work, because, we can all hope and just have hope, but, another Bible scripture that I live by, work without faith is dead, so, and we have to really realize that, because sometimes having hope mean, it's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging, and it makes you uncomfortable sometimes to get to that hopeful place of seeing that it is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think sometimes, more than enough, we want to quit before we get there, and we got to know, I'm going back to, and the hope you give, and, just the hope that you give can just really have someone to see, what, I can do this. Yep. It take them out of their situation and their circumstances, and they can see that they can do, because, I always like even sharing the story. I'm a new driver, was out in the snow, didn't know what to do, and believe it or not, the hope you give, you just never know. Now here I just need to clean off my car and just learn how to just do this for the first time, for new driver, first snowstorm. I didn't even know you supposed to turn on the car. and let it warm up
Help so
into
the
yes,
help,
yes. So I'm just
help
cleaning
the
the snow.
snowman.
Yes, and it's just coming back on fast as I can clean it all. And it just took a homeless person to come up and say, "Ma'am, get in your car and start your car." And he just took his gloves and just started wiping off my car. And I'm thinking, God, he's sleeping out here and then his gloves wet, his hands wet, and I'm going home to a warm bed, and he constantly have to be out here, And I was like, well, can I give you money to go stay in the shelter? But long story short, and just because he gave me hope that I can now get in my car, cleaned off car, and go to my warm house. And me giving him $20 saying, here, you go stay in the shelter and, and not stay out here. And I told him where I worked at because I was right in front of my job. He came back like a week later and told me that he went and got a job just because of the $20 that I gave to him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, he said, you gave me hope. No one had never been nice to me. And I'm up here thinking,
Just the little things.
Yes, he was my angel. He said no one never been nice to him.
See,
but
and that's a perfect case. You never know what someone's going through.
Yes.
You sparked that you gave him that spark of hope to where he got reignited, and now he is self-sufficient with his own job.
Yes. And I tell you, and my thing was, God, he just don't even know how much he gave me hope.
Yeah.
He was my angel. Because I'm serious, guys. I was literally out here, didn't know nothing about how to clean off a car in a snowstorm.
He could have gotten frostbite.
Yes.
He could have gotten hypothermia.
Because he got
so many
wet.
things, but he
helped me anyway, in spite of his challenges.
He wanted to give you some hope that you'll make it home.
Yes, in spite of his challenges, he gave me hope. And
then you gave him.
Yes.
Vice versa, it's just so intertwined.
Yes, and the hope you give. See? Yeah. How about that? That was a beautiful story, wasn't it?
It's a movie, actually, The Hate You Give. Maybe there needs to be a movie, The Hope You Give.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't think about that. I think I saw that. That's the young girl or something? She witnessed.
I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah,
The Hate
I think
You Give.
she.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think that that came out
But
maybe a few years ago.
Maybe
the hope we give.
Maybe
We're gonna flip the script, huh?
Yes, maybe the producer Karen will develop a. Y'all watch out. The Hope You Give coming in movie theaters
Near you.
Yeah.
Real soon. Real soon.
Coming soon.
Started with me and Rashid, the main characters, right? So as we close out, what would be your final words? Because I just want you to take the time. You do so much for the community. I know I constantly always put you on forefront about that. You're starting your own business and all that good stuff. So, so what are you? Do you having a consulting firm?
Well, I do consulting, but I also partner with some friends to do. We're working on a clean energy startup, actually.
Okay.
We're working on a clean energy startup. We know that African Americans will miss the mark if they don't get involved in the new clean energy economy. Everything is moving to electric vehicles, gases. Will soon, in decades to come, will be obsolete. And so it's up to us now to educate our communities of color about the importance of clean energy, how it can help you, how it can help so many of the ailments that we have, with just breathing and all of the chemicals that are put into the air. So our thing is clean energy will help us breathe better. It will help us financially. We're not depending on crude oil. But also it can, it's a new economy that people of color need to be involved in. And it's a new wave of jobs that will be created with this whole clean energy economy. So, that's one thing that's really important to communities of color. And one thing that we realized is that Black people were missing the mark or not being engaged. And so we started an organization. We're going to kick in the door and make sure that our people are aware of this new clean energy economy, but also letting corporations know that it's important to invest in us, especially since we are the ones affected by, pollution and the horrible air that we breathe. environmental racism is a really big thing, and some of where our communities are built and what it's built around have long-term effects for generations, health effects
Yes,
for
yes.
generations. So.
Well, you know what? They got the right person on the job.
Hey,
and
we're gonna work it.
Yes, and I know you
spread
will.
that clean energy message across the country.
Yes, we will. And you know what? We're going to have another show. We're going to talk about that because, I know when it's Clean Energy Month, I know all the awareness. So we're going to have a full show about it. How about that? We're going to have Rashim and his organization to come back, and we're going to dialogue about it.
If you want to go to our website, you can visit cleanenergyculture.com. We're there on the World Wide Web. We're there on Instagram. We have some programming that we'll start to release to educate our folks on clean energy.
And you hear that first right here on VMP Media Production. B.A.A.D.S.S Us. That's who we are. We got the baddest community ever, the Black community. We are keeping our people informed. We are doing the thing. We staying mindful. We making it happen. We have hope. We giving hope. The hope you give. Yep. Heard it here first on Vision and Purpose Media Production. We see you next week here on the other side. Mwah. Bye-bye.